welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love once again. Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And you know what? Our poll, blessings to you. That intro gets me a little bit hyped too. Blessings to every one of you who is tuning in, who finds your way here today. I have been excited for a while again to get started. And I hope all of you who tune in or join find some smiles, carry them with you, share them around abundantly later. That's the goal in my heart. and I'm sitting here and I can understand why people get confused with me, with what I do and what I say, but I tell you what, thank you. To all of you who are new here with me, I am a character, man. I never know what I'm going to do, what I'm going to say. I never know anymore. And so, like, the start time today, I scheduled it for 1:35 my time. And I was like, why did I? And then I got lost in the day and I was thinking I was starting at 1:30 and I got confused by myself. And then I remembered, oh, yeah, 13:33. Golly geez. See, I'm a grown man and I admit my foolishness. I play these little games with myself. I entertain me. I have fun with life in different ways that I can. Today, the topic, let's discuss we. And today, the idea here, have a fantastic Friday, right? That's the goal. In the background of the message and our time on the live stream is the encouragement. Rest in the Lord with love. And that's there for me to remind me, don't be angry, Jack. Angry Jack is hard to love. Apparently impossible to love in someone's eyes. Anyway, have a fantastic Friday. Never miss an opportunity to put a smile on someone's face. It might be the only one they get today. And if that's you, I'll be dropping the link soon. All are welcome to join. And if you're looking for a smile, we can find one. One of the best things I have learned for myself, though, is true. We are energetic beings, multidimensional, just amazing in the creation of what we are, human beings. And in our inner spirit of all of us, made in the image of the Creator, we have a spirit of creativity. Each of us has different talents, different ways we enjoy sharing our creativity, and generosity, made in the image of nature and all things. We are here to be generous. So creativity and generosity, they truly feed the inner spirit of love. And recorded in the Bible, and there's many testimonies, miracles can emerge spontaneously in the actions of sharing love. So be generous with your creativity and creative with your generosity and create a better world around you. And if you're nervous, just surrender your nervousness away. Surrender your fears away. Give them up. Surrender the ways of the world, the selfishness and the battles and the reasons to hold yourself back. You got within you so much power. So the point is, if you surrender the nervousness and you just accept that giving and being creative and, serving in different ways, it's your opportunity to shine, man. So surrender to the Holy Spirit. and share smiles with divine faith, divine peace, divine love. Find those within you so you can share those with the world. That's what I've been practicing, trying to do for myself, is to truly be a man better than I was. Simple as that. And once I chose to believe that I could be better than I was, and it started my testimony, um, lifelong heavy drinking, regular patterns of subconscious living. So my testimony took me through recognizing and humbling myself that I could be better. I could be better than someone whose desperate search for happiness was never found in a bottle, right? I searched the bottom of so many Budweiser bottles looking for happiness, never found it. Got drunk a lot, but you know, I've become a better man than I used to be. And I want to encourage, I hope to be an inspiration. I hope to be an encouraging example for others, for you. And if not you, maybe you know someone who's really suffering with despair and lack of motivation. Share me around, please. I live to serve these days. I really do. And God, my life, my attitude, and my attitude and opinions from others, it denied me the opportunities to serve. So what I've been learning in life, and here for the men in particular, right? Us men in particular, we can do better. Being more kind, more considerate, more respectful. Maybe I'm just talking to the toxic men like I used to be. I watched an interesting, I don't know who exactly is here, but you know what? I have seen some great questions and comments, participation from the chat. And I found I often miss a lot of it until I go back and relook at it. But some of you folks, holy cows, man. Someone had asked previously about merchandise. Not yet. Not yet. It's got to be like anyone I partner with, they've got to be of good standards. And I haven't put a lot of attention or energy into finding sources of merchandising or distribution, but it's in the list of things to do, getting some merchandise and some promotion for this idea, which isn't new, but sharing the messages of live without fear. What I pray to do with this whole world is help the world realize we can live. We don't need to be so afraid and angry and bitter and selfishness. We don't have to create such a dangerous world, debt ridden and divided. We don't have to leave a world like that for our children. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, hey, here's one of the people that really likes to, he wants me to be wrong for some reason. Paul, that's not accurate. I want more abundance in many ways. Economically, there's plenty of room to grow. But I'm not desperate. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. I'm truly filled with love and wonder. Because I'll admit, I understand the appearances. I've been praying often, God, what do I do? What do I do while I'm waiting for other people. Other people who said, "Yeah, I'll have a conversation with you, Jack. Yeah, I'll check you out. Yeah, we'll get together." I followed up with a few messages and stuff today. So here's a thought I had, and this I understand how this could be twisted and used against me, could go the wrong way, but I think this is right. There's a lot of people online. I'm not hiding me. I'm online and there's plenty of evidence. People, there's channels about Jack Talcott, different versions, and there's people who take the time to edit and share some of my blunders, my goofy things I say. But behind the goofiness is a real man who believes that we can have peace on this world. I'm a real man who believes and knows wars can end. It's as simple as the facts. Wars end when people stop fighting. See, and that's what I'd love to remind the public servants in Congress, our brothers and sisters who've dedicated their time and energy into politics. Well, I think they've lost sight of where the value is actually had and where the power actually lies. Brothers and sisters, the power is in God. God has delegated power to man and woman and child. The restrictions and the oppression and the divisions, we don't have to accept those anymore. And so here's one of the things I know. Disagreements end when facts are agreed upon. And I've got a long track record, right? Long track record, particularly since 2018, of people who found disagreements with me. Our brother Paul Enslaved is one of those. I'm hoping that other people will join me. Join me in believing God's will for us is peace. I'm not asking for anything, but I am inviting people to please join me in my story as a man. Reach out to me online, offline, whatever. Where'd it go? Whatever feels comfortable for you. And I know how it sounds, and I certainly don't want anyone harassing people from my past, like my son, my ex-wife, my old friends. I certainly do not want anyone harassing anyone. But there comes a time, one of the topics I kind of wanted to discuss. How do you know? Okay, where is the line? What do you deserve to know? And what should be denied to you? What information should be denied to you? And what information do you have a right to know? See, in my experience, God wants us to know. God wants us to know many things. That's why we're here. There's so much to know, but the main thing to know is, well, our role as a human being here on earth at this time, regardless of religion, regardless of tradition, regardless of political beliefs or affiliation or rejection. We are here to embody divinity, purity, wholeness, that which is natural. That's the way we're supposed to live, right? Natural law will set us free. Now, natural law, we don't have to argue about and fight about we understand, we all have within us, written in our hearts, we all have within us what is and is not good. Okay? What is natural is good. What is good is natural. Let me not overcomplicate this because it's so easy for people to find arguments with what I say. I'm not sure who you're talking about. A lot of preaching, no practicing. See, this is what I've observed. All of us within us, we have the Spirit of God, the Christic, the pure. It's eternally present for us to embody. That embodiment of the pure and the true in the present, it doesn't go around trying to prove anything. Now, on the other side, within us is the Christ, the Christic, the true, the pure, the love without rules and conditions. It's just love because it wants to give. That's the spirit. And then within us is the devil, the Antichrist, the analyzer, the accuser, the opposer, that which wants to leave you unsettled and without peace. It's the voice or the thoughts in your mind that say, you're not good enough. They're not good enough. It's the one that's always trying to find problems, always ready to pick a fight. Brothers and sisters, it's insanity. The ego is insane. It really is. Hey, you tell me, blessings to you. I think you I wrote down some names. I think it was you, Radio Guru. No. Paul doesn't care about money or numbers, but he does talk about it every day. So he says. Anyway, some of the names here in the chat, you guys have been so very encouraging, and you get it. You tell me our poll, Swinton's, there's a growing group that I've seen you, right? You've been around for a while. And one of my thoughts today, we live in a world of division. No denial, right? We live in a war of competition and opposition. So join me. Join my team. You want to pick a side? Pick the side of Jack Talcott. Let's rise together. Okay? Because I feel and trust, I know that I am surrendered to God. So if you have God in your life and you can feel empowered with me, I'll help. I'll share encouragement, inspiration. We'll brainstorm ideas. We don't have to dedicate you, whoever you might be, who's joining me. You don't have to dedicate your whole life to this. Matter of fact, there's a very simple way that anyone willing could help. If you believe it's time for wars to end, if you can think of anyone within any system, I'm willing to talk with them, right? And what I'm looking for is let's align with some of our brothers and sisters within the government, within the different systems and organizations. Let's work together to unite. When mankind unites together, we will overcome the divisions of wealth and authority and all the money chasers and the bag chasers. They'll realize how much time was wasted, just like I did. My ideas, what makes your ideas the correct ones? My words are supported and explained through the scripture, the Bible that everyone places on a pedestal. I mean, and even our Muslim brothers and sisters, I don't know that they should have any disagreements because, as I understand, regardless of the name we point to, there's a God. There's a God of creation and knowledge and light and energy. We are simply characters in the development of life. We're part of God's story. We're part of history. So the ideas I have, number one, they're supported by the Bible. I'm actually suggesting that what we do, it wouldn't be my ideas. And this is what I'm suggesting. We get away from this one expert, one person who can hide behind friggin' layers of bureaucracy. What I'm suggesting is the brothers and sisters of Christ, Christians, let's join together. Let's become that which we claim to be, set apart, a little bit different from society, willing to give where others won't, willing to forgive where others won't, willing to lead, not into danger, but willing to lead others as true men and women. That's the conversation I want to have with the people in Congress. So how about we actually do the deal as Christians, join together to unite as a body of Christ to be the living truth of today. The evidence is undeniable. The evil in the world that is being perpetrated by the demons of state and corporations, it is undeniable. So how long? How long do we continue to disagree? Charlie, I think if you and others actually just understood what my ideas are, your questions would be entirely different. What makes your ideas the correct ones? They are honest. My ideas are honest. I can explain every one of my conclusions. I can support my conclusions and what I say with facts. So, what is a fact of today is we live in the world of insanity. Hey, Paul Enslaved, you're welcome to click the link and try and have an adult conversation. I have faith that you will one day. But you're leading people the wrong way, Paul. See, many of the fools I found who want to disparage me and insult me, Paul, they are following you blindly because you are such an arrogant prick. You have no clue what you're doing. I could have that same conversation with Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Donald Trump. Arrogant pricks who don't know what they're doing. Brothers and sisters, the election day is coming soon. How long are we just going to play around? How long are we going to, well, tech talk, yes. My ideas are correct because most are insane. My ideas are that we no longer allow corporations and governments to keep secrets. so that the employees employed by corporations and governments, so they're not telling you and me lies. So if people want to continue living in a world of lies, why? Why? Today, well, the topic, let's discuss we. I say we an awful lot. I realize that. Part of that has been through my progression through life, right? I was part of platoons and I was part of companies and battalions and brigades, and I was part of the postal service and part of the union. I've been a part of things all my life. I've experienced the good and the bad of organizational activities, such as unions or businesses and such. I've experienced good and bad in many different ways. Who I am who I am. I am Jack Talcott, just like you. Maybe you're better than me. I hope you are, because there's a lot of people who think I suck. But what I know, brothers and sisters, it doesn't matter what we think. What matters is how we treat each other. Simple as that. We were born into a world, and I can tell the story as an American because many people born and alive the same time as me, dude, they've been experiencing war and true oppression. Hey, we've got a friend and a brother I haven't seen in a bit. Welcome back, man. Good to see you, brother.
Yes, so there's a reason you haven't seen me in a bit. I've been pretty much taking more time for myself because I'm just losing confidence in trying to organize everyone. So I'm trying to pull back some of my power to myself so I can think through some issues I've been solving, think through my issues because asking for help just hasn't been working for me. So that's where I am right now.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So what I heard, you found things in the past that weren't working. You consciously chose to interrupt what you were doing to reassess. Is that
Yes,
what I got?
reassess and then just work on the problem myself because just asking for people just hasn't been working. Instead, I'm trying to segment the solutions that already exist. Then after I run out of that, I have to take the really long road into implementing an original solution.
Do you have clarity on the problem you're solving?
So right now I'm just concatenating a video where I can upload it. This is my both my panel discussions with Steve McRae and Jim Bob under theism from like a half a year ago. I'm pretty much I think I have it's working for me at the moment. Yeah, the computer doesn't attest it. So
well, good for you, and if I can be of support for what you're doing, please let me know. I want to welcome Chuck too. Welcome to you, Chuck.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Also got Pablo Unslavio joining us.
How can I help you, Jack?
Change your attitude?
Praise God.
Seriously. I think if you changed your attitude about me, I think you'd lead others to reconsider their attitudes about me.
Right. So all this is about is how you're perceived by the public. It's not about the actual truth of the facts of the matter.
No, that's not accurate. It is about the truth of the
I have a reason why I perceive you certain ways.
Right. Your reason.
It's not my reason. It's a reason based on reality.
Right. You found a reason for you.
Everyone who deals with you finds the same reason. It's not a coincidence.
Paul, you're going to opinions For what? You're not willing to have a conversation? Actually, I should back up.
You
Because
should.
I should ask your permission, regarding your opinions of me.
Can we avoid all reality and track record to humor you in your reality that you occupy with few, if anyone else?
Well, can you just let me finish my thought?
Sure.
Okay. So, I'd love to have a discussion and conversation with you about your opinions and your behavior towards me. Clearly, you have an invested interest in what I want to discuss. But if you're not willing to even consider discussing your behavior and opinions about me,
I'm willing to discuss it. That's why I'm here.
Are you willing to be wrong?
Sure, if you can demonstrate that and define that and discern that and make it demonstrably true, absolutely I am, because this is about the truth and the facts, not about how I or you are perceived by the public.
Right. Now, part of how I'm perceived by the public has been influenced by my association and disassociation with you.
Blame shifting.
No, I'm discussing facts that are relevant to the topic. The topic is your behavior and your opinions of me.
I have a ton of folks who talk bad about me, and it hasn't influenced the outcome of my journey and my walk one bit. If it did, I would be here.
Right. That's actually what we're discussing as well, is your behavior that is
right. So the reality is that I'm the reason why people come to me and leave me. I'm the reason.
Exactly. And I'm ready to leave you. I'm done with your nonsense.
Wait, I thought that we were going to discuss away from our ego about what's true.
You won't allow it.
I'm taking responsibility and accountability for my life and the outcomes I've experienced, something you're not doing.
That's inaccurate. Prove I'm not.
Okay, one question. Will you repeat the same is true for you that I just repeated about me? You are the reason why people come to you and leave you.
No shit, Sherlock.
That doesn't include me and everyone else then, including Margot, Snafu Snaps, Slow Slave.
They're not here.
But you list them regularly. That's the greatest hit.
Paul, you're such a child. Like an insolent toddler.
I mean, I was here and Chuck was here. You could have used us, but I probably wouldn't have helped his point because we would probably not agree with him.
I believe that if either of you, thank you for staying back, Hank, because I think if you or Chuck jumped in, it would be a distraction and he would just run with the deflection. Because, Paul, it's your behavior that has been my problem with you. I don't have problems with how you live your life, except what you do with me and the way you influence others who I do experience.
So let me get this straight. My behavior's my problem. My behavior is also your problem.
When your behavior's a problem, it's a problem.
Right. Okay. Now, can we go to results like I always like to do? The one thing you won't go to, how we demonstrate who's actually...
Here, I'm going to pause that because you're looping back in the same old thing. Welcome back, Zach. How you doing, brother?
Doing well. I actually want to be on here with Paul. I just want to ask Paul what he wants from you. Like,
bring Paul back up.
I'm encouraging all of us to adhere to the truth and the facts rather than support what we want or don't want to be true.
Will you follow those words? You keep denying facts, ignoring facts.
No, I'm ignoring your, I'm not ignoring, I'm denying your perspective because I perceive that it's based in delusion and denial.
So Paul, can I ask you a question then?
Sure.
Okay, so the first time we interacted, it didn't go so well. And once I got off, you laughed and said, see, I knew that guy and I knew I could trigger him.
I didn't say that.
Now, hold on, Paul. You always go on to say that, oh, I didn't mean I actually knew you. I just could see your spirit and I knew
the spirit, right.
But the truth is, in that same stream where once I was off, you went on to say how you knew I was the kind of guy that had to be out on the street with a group of people around me to have some kind of confidence. And I had just talked to you after I'd just gotten back from New York with a large gathering where we were speaking on the street. So it showed me that you must have watched.
I'm not aware of you. That's your grandiosity. That's why you identify with Jack, because you have a narcissistic swing. You think other people.
Paul.
So
You
Paul,
think? Can I have a back and forth with him for a few moments, or are we? Is this always going to be a power control triangulation game?
Paul,
do you want to go over?
Paul, you're playing you're doing the game that you're just describing, blaming me and Zach. What I'm
not blaming anyone.
I'm seeing you arguing like a child, Paul. Please be more respectful and have a discussion like
you're triangulating and playing power games. If I can respond to what was said, I'm not going to allow him to tell me what my experience is and gaslight. You've already now done 3 out of 5 to 15 manipulation tactics. We went over them all the last couple days on my broadcast, and you guys do them all 10.
You are the expert on manipulation.
Yes, I concur. He is an expert on manipulation. Unfortunately, I don't even think he's actually that good at it. He read a Wikipedia article about manipulation. I can grant him that.
So I just want to chime in with this. He's coming on here and lecturing you about apparently not being honest, but then he's not being honest. And then when he gets called out on it, he has to say that we're manipulate. It's like, no. And again, to say that you know somebody and you know their spirit from a few minutes of interaction where you purposefully like baited them and tried to provoke them and insult them until they got a reaction. It's like, what, I don't know, like what world you like, it's just, see, and again, Paul, the thing you have to realize is it's obvious that half of Jack's following is from your channel that likes coming here and bullying Jack. And again, Jack, I think really the best thing you can do at this point is you've given these people a million chances. You just got to move on and let better people flow in with time.
So it's a correction. Right now, it's probably down to like 1/8 because his audience been streaking.
Oh, you're saying about 1/8 of Paul's people is who's here now?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's progress, I would say.
Yeah. Many have been blocked and no longer show up. But
and you know, I had an interesting thing happen. I was in Sacramento about a year and a half ago, and I was speaking out, and this guy came up on his BMX bike, and he was kind of like trying to troll us and bait us. And I was like, who is this guy? Like, what's this about? And then eventually he came back over like 15 minutes later. He goes, I just got to let you know, I was over here from Paul Lund Slaves channel, and we were seeing if we could get you. But he's like, you know what? You're actually kind of cool in person. And I noticed he's in your chat too, Jack, because he was leaving comments a few weeks back about now he's living in, I forget where he said he's like in Colorado and he's building homes and his life's going better. And I was like, oh, that's great. But it was the same guy who came over on the BMX bike. So I know he's watching your channel too. But again, it's like Paul is just trying to turn people against people for no reason. And I understand what Paul doesn't like about you, and I understand what he doesn't like about me, but there's also a commonality between all three of us. And again, it's like, why would that not be the thing that you'd want to focus on? And again, if Paul, if you are more righteous than Jack and I, you know what? I think that would rub off in time and we'd become more like the righteous Paul if you just showed off the good characteristics of that rather than constantly like trying to like create some unnecessarily conflict and beef. And then when you get called out, and another thing Paul loves to do on his channel is he loves to mute you while you're talking, and then you don't realize, and he's like, look how dumb they are. They're still talking and they're muted. And it's like, well, that's because no one can hear each other because everyone's just screaming. It's just everything about him is just like, it's like a, sorry, Paul, you remind me of a little child in an adult's body.
Yeah. So a tip I learned is if you really want to have the best conversation with Paul is you probably should just restream him and just respond to that. That's probably easier. He goes in the loop anyways. It's going to be much easier. I learned that from OTW. That's probably why they get along.
Well,
but yeah, I really just had to come on and say, like, what does Paul want from Jack? Like, what do you want? You're here every day. You're watching every broadcast, but what do you want?
Zach, he wants to be right. He wants me to be wrong. Because if I'm happy without family and support and money, well, then maybe he's not as successful as he thinks, because Paul contradicts himself constantly. He's a good man. He's a good man, but he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And he's lying to a lot of people, convincing them he does know what he's doing.
Yeah.
So part of my experience, Zach, my life has been this. Part of my life pattern is, maybe it was because I had a bully in me, but my life, I continually faced bullies. So Paul, that character, Steven, Snafu, these guys are just online bullies who think they're tougher than everybody else, and they're clowns. And I can help them stop being clowns and help actually, because Zach, there's serious shit going on in the world. You're paying attention, right? These
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the thing I'd say to Paul too. Paul talks about things that are true, and like you and I can acknowledge what's good about Paul, but then Paul can't acknowledge the good in others. It has to be just that Paul's the only good thing and everything else is just crap and meaningless. And it's like, I mean, what is that? Like, that's a destructive attitude. It like represents why the world is broken and falling apart. People just can't even be honest with each other. They can't cooperate. They can't come together where they should come together. And again, the first time I ever found out about Paul, he was on Brian's channel and he was talking a good game. And then Brian said something about how we have to come together. And this is like, at the time I'd offered Brian $1,000 to fly him and his wife out to New York and hopefully bring more people to raise awareness about 9/11 and government tyranny. And then Brian had gone on and exaggerated. He goes, "Oh, that Zach guy offered me thousands of dollars. I'm not going out there with him." And it's like, okay, I didn't offer him thousands. I offered him 1,000. And like, why are you on there mocking me for that? And then you're hanging out with Paul like 2 days later saying we got to come together. It's like, talk about a guy who doesn't mean anything he's saying. I mean, unbelievable.
Zach, it's a common pattern. I just watched there's a Christian channel I follow, God Logic or something like that. He's very versed in the Bible. He had a recent video where he's showing some of the arguments and patterns of some of the Muslims he was trying to speak with. It's not a religious thing. It's just the patterns of the ego. The ego, man, it's the Antichrist. The pride is this, it's what Paul is demonstrating clearly is emotional wounds. He's very smart, but his smart mind convinced him a lot of negative things. And so his defensive mechanism is to keep people away. And he does that, but he's self-sabotaging. Zach, the reality is, I don't need Paul, right? You don't need Paul. We saw potential value in bringing him in to help expand the knowledge of truth. But until he changes his behavior, you can't work with him. He wants people to
Yeah,
obey.
absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing, though. In the greater scope, he's just like many of these people in politics and many of the other celebrities, right? They get to a level where they're getting the feedback. You know, the crowd is saying, "Good job," and here's some money, and they get enabled. But I've said this to Paul for a long time. He's shining as a dark light, a false light, coming out here telling everyone they're slaves and infidels and they're worthless. There's no good in any of them except for Paulie boy. It's insane, dude.
Yeah, it is. And again, you know, hey, Paul, there's still hope for you. There's still hope for Paul. Again, there is a good part of Paul. It's just learn how to cooperate with people. And, you know, and again, yeah, I understand like a lot of dishonest people that try to sneak in on your good side just to take from you. That's not how I ever came at you. I came at you as, can you please just come out and speak with us and share what you're talking about on Brian's channel? More people need to hear this. That's all it ever was.
Paul, we're on the same side.
We don't do the same things and we don't live the same life.
So you say. The fact
The
that you
record
don't
shows
see,
it.
the fact you don't see the mirror image in
I do
me,
see the mirror image. I talk about it regularly. Haven't you just
no,
talked enough while I just
you see only your here. Actually, something you said. Um, the way we need to grow is to learn how to see the perspective of others. The pride, the fear, the insecurity, it gets this narrow tunnel vision, and Paul can't see that others are correct. He can't imagine that other people might be right and he might be wrong, because he's real good at showing he's right and others are wrong. It's manipulation and gaslighting. He needs an intervention.
Well, it'll probably come as he gets older and with maturity and perspective. At least one can only hope. And again, I already know Paul's side. He's going to say, listen, you guys are sellouts because you're paying taxes and you're supporting this evil system. And you know what? I totally get it, Paul. I'm not even in total disagreement at all. I used to be exactly where you are. It's just, I wasn't able to change the world from completely withdrawing from taxes and all that. And at some point, I came to the idea that it takes resources to compete with the systems that are out there. And again, it's not that I disrespect your stance and what you're trying to do in the world at all. The thing is, you're just totally disrespecting everyone else who has a slightly different perspective or a different experience or is trying to come at it from a different angle. And again, and saying like, we don't live in it. Dude, we're all at the end of the day the same thing. We all need to sleep, eat, etc., and we're all living under this tyrannical government that Jack's not controlling, I'm not controlling, our friend Hank here, you're not controlling. We're all having to live under it. I think all four of us want to change it. Again, if your idea is the best, Paul, again, the way you'd persuade more people to coming your way is just by living it and explaining it, rather than like demonizing everyone because they're not all the way there yet.
Yes. So yeah, that's correct, Zach. The way to actually change the system is just to replace the system. Just build another one, then remove or people or data to the next one over. I mean, maybe Jack can't talk to the main Congress. Maybe we'll just have to build a shadow Congress and Jack can talk to them. That seems like a solution.
How about we've got the knowledge, we've got the evidence. All we need to do is create the evidence or create the opportunity. There's people out there. There's wealthy people, people in positions of the systems. There's people who have connections. If we can get some wealth and authority on this side in whatever academic or professional ways, we can open up doors. It's time for wars to end. The world is literally insane from fear, greed, confusion, unhealed trauma. It's up to us, those of us who see the signs and see that, hey, there's more going on. People like Paul, it's time for us. We've got the connections. And Zach, here's honestly my hope. I believe we can. The solution I see, it's clear. Set the truth free. People can get over their feelings. We'll help each other with the feelings, but it's time that people know the truth about this economic system, political system. We can overcome all of the past divisions when secrets are no longer legal.
Yeah.
Then we won't.
Yeah, Jack, I just concatenated 2 MP4 files with FFmpeg. How is that going to help you?
I don't know what you just said.
Exactly.
Did it have relevance?
It did.
Can you help me receive the relevance?
Yeah, what I'm saying is I don't seem to have what you want, so probably ask someone else.
Well, part of my invitation of what I want, I feel as though I'm living kind of an unbelievable story. My life There's a lot of unanswered. There's a lot of people involved with my past. The thing that Paul wants to loop on me for. Your son's not around. You don't have a money. You don't have this. I've had that. Paul's never had the role of people being intimately dependent on him. He's never had kids. So that's why he judges his dad being such a slave and reprobate and nothing good. Paul's a bitter man, but damn it, he's an example of many people from my past. And Zach, when I started online, this is what I'm doing. Somehow I got excommunicated from Spokane. People see me, but I have no one anymore. And so my faith in God has grown. I've been trying to reach out, get coordination with some of the pastors. We could do a call to action, Zach, in so many ways. Online is a path to get to the mainstream media. A way to get beyond all of it is just get an invitation from someone in Congress. Actually, I don't know. The only thing I know for sure is that in my life, truth is God. I am constantly seeking to know and to learn and to grow in what I know. And what I've learned is love. God's love is true. When we stop fighting, we feel a peace in our heart. When we're honest and kind and forgiving, we find a peace in our mind. And that wholeness, I'm telling you, there's something to my life testimony. I made so many mistakes in the past, but the path to freedom of insecurity, it's simple. No more excuses, no more blame. Paul, when you stop blaming me for your opinions, you stop making an excuse for your opinions to be a cause for you to disrespect me, you and I can get along just fine, Paul. But your excuses and your blame are your bitterness to overcome. I'd love to help you.
I'm really enjoying you and Jack, the you and Zach and Jack, the narcissistic, two-faced, disingenuous, gaslighting, manipulating, deflecting, obfuscating couple. It's a great new team. It's going to go far, I have a feeling. Like every other.
You're perfectly describing you, Paul. Duplicitous, manipulative, gaslighting. You want me to believe that. What do you want me to believe about me, Paul? That I'm a failure? That I'm
No, that's what the facts and the record shows.
No, that's what you keep telling others and yourself.
Or we could just go to the facts and record. The facts and record shows that you and Zach are two cowards.
See the deflection?
How is that?
How are you actually going to listen to the facts and the record, or are you just going to throw me out and glaze over it?
He gets enough. If you can just tell me how I'm a coward, I would just love to hear.
Yeah.
Because you had to come, like so many before and after you, to come get somebody who actually lives upholding the law and exercising the rights to come talk for you, because you don't. You sell sport.
Holy shit. What an arrogant narrative.
Oh my God. It's just like Paul, almost every time I talk about you, I try to focus on that you have great things to offer. I try to keep it positive, but then every time you come out, it's just like, you can't be serious. Where have I ever asked you to talk for me? You and I have had, like, in our entire lifetimes, we've now probably interacted back and forth for, you count things like that, maybe 20 total minutes. I mean, like, I've never asked you to talk for me.
Holy cows.
Yeah, I don't know what his deal is, but
I do.
I'll continue to compliment him. He does have some good ideas and some good points and some good knowledge. So, and he can be funny too. I did hear him come in here the other day with the jokes about getting married. I mean, that was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. So,
Dude, Zach, this is the thing. When when Paul's not, belittling me and, constantly trying to diminish me, dude, I've hung out with him and my belly hurt. My cheeks were worn out from laughing so much.
You've hung out with him in person? You've met him in person?
Online.
Oh, okay.
Some of the live streams and conversations we've had, there's no denying his humor and his talent. Only he denies his arrogance and bitterness. Everyone else can clearly see his arrogance and bitterness.
He's very good at manufacturing like a narrative and just like making it up, but talking about it like it's so real. It's like, it's kind of sociopathic in a way, Paul. It's kind of sociopathic. I tried to reach out to him for the first. He popped up in my feed. Somehow he I don't know what he did. He tricked the algorithm, and he had some big videos there for a while, and it popped up in my feed. So I tried to reach back out to him, and it was just right. I was just like, okay, it's hopeless with Paul. He won't allow a bridge to be built. So, but and again, Paul, the thing is to pretend like you're not paying attention to people that you don't like. I mean, right when I came on, you were telling me what's going on in my life, and you're regurgitating the things all my trolls say about me. So I'm like, well, Paul's keeping up with all the gossip on me. I mean, don't act like it's just. I'm not doing that to you. You show back up in my feed. I wanted to reach out because what showed up in my feed, I was like, this is the part of Paul I like. This is the knowledgeable part of Paul. I would like to have this interaction. I like to help other people out. I would have just happily brought you onto my channel just so people can hear the knowledge you're spitting, bring you some more subs. Just like the first time I reached out to you, that's what it was all about. So, and again, I mean, we do live in, I understand why people are so mistrusting in this world. There are just so many liars and manipulators and selfish people. It seems like it's 70% of humanity. But in the time I've been here, I brought a lot of people onto my platform who have smaller platforms just to help them out because I like something that they were doing, even if I don't agree with it all the way. Like, for example, I think, Jack, in a way, like, I don't mean to be being Jack, but I think like your ideas about Congress and government are not based in reality. I guess that's how I would put it. I just feel like these people are in the positions they're in because they're part of something that's not us, and they're here to lie to us and maintain, and they need to be revolted against. It's revolution or bust is my line. I don't think you can talk sense to these people and get them on board with what humanity needs. I think they're here to make sure that the status quo is maintained. That's my belief. I might be wrong about that, but that's why I also am willing to have the conversation in case Jack's right. So
I appreciate that. And you did. You offered me actually exactly what I've been hoping for. You shared your platform, and I felt we had some pretty good conversations.
It was a great conversation. And I would love to do it again. And I think conversations like that need to be had over and over again. And it's those kind of conversations that are going to make people eventually shift their positions to where they need to be.
Zach, that's what you said. That's what I've learned. Okay. The truth, it's always there. The answers are always there. The ones we need so that we have a bigger picture. The truth is always there, but it comes down to what are we seeking? What questions are we asking? What are we looking for? The ways of the society, it doesn't profit from people asking questions. Yet there's a lot of people in this truth that are rising in this truth movement, that are doing the research, sharing the patterns, showing what has been found. That's my blessing. That's what I mean. I had time off from work and family and social life, and I got to learn from a lot of different people and a lot of work. So this is where I know I'm not special in what I've learned. Anyone can learn what I'm learning. I've been gathering wisdom from God's children. God's children are here not to go to war, not to, not to put each other down. We're here to lift each other up so that a greater world is found for everyone. It's really that simple.
Yeah. Again, if there was more love in the world and it replaced, the hatred and mistrust that's there, it would be a better world for all of us. There is a reason there is so much hatred and mistrust, and I think that's been bred from the rulers, if you will, the people who control us and manipulate us and lie to us. day after day, and it does it. It's the trickle down theory. The nonstop lines from the top trickle into humanity, and then next thing you know, everybody's just like, you know, the pandemic was a good example. It made everybody scared of everybody that, oh, they could be a biological weapon. These are the things they do in all kinds of ways, and it does have a consequence. So again, Paul is very much against the government. Jack's very much against the government. I'm pretty sure Hank is. I definitely am. There's a commonality. There's a way that people could have a conversation and say, this is what I'm trying to do. And you know what? If Jack and I and Hank are here every day and we're listening to Paul, you know, give his philosophy without saying that everybody else is a horrible human being because they're not exactly the same as him. If we realize that Paul's way is the best, we might all be like, you know what? I'm going to be more like Paul today. But the problem is, Paul, the way you do things, it's like, I just got to turn Paul off. I mean, I like to be saying, but God, he's just being an unnecessary asshole. And I don't want to turn into an unnecessary asshole. So maybe Paul's way is not the best. So anyway, I got to get back to work. But thank you again, Jack. And good to see you back here, Hank. And
thank you for joining, Zach.
All right, you guys have a good day.
Blessings to you, brother.
Take care.
There's a lot shared. We are all here. My faith is in God. Sincerely. Am I right? Am I wrong for having faith in God? Paul certainly wants me to be wrong. Paul wants me to make sure that I'm what? Bitter and angry like you? Serious question. Seems to be what you're sharing is bitterness and anger. If you're honest, am I wrong?
Let's propose that I'm bitter and angry, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Is there not that one necessarily needs a reason, or that a reason mitigates the potential harm might do to oneself? Mm-hmm. Is there maybe a potential reason why folks would be a bit frustrated and bitter?
Yep.
What would be the reason, Jack?
Typically a lack of answers. It's bitterness and anger. It shows a unreconciled relationship with the truth. When we're at
this is incredible. It's incredible how you do this.
Share wisdom calmly.
Those who are in alignment with truth have results. Those who are not are projecting their results while lacking that and saying they want more abundance.
Hey, Paul, let's get your mind off of the material results that
it's not the immaterial and the material work hand in hand. It's a spiritual, spiritual realm having a physical experience. They work hand in hand. You're not going to obfuscate and make them mutually exclusive so you could proclaim spiritual enlightenment without physical results. That's absurdity.
Hello, right. And that's exactly what you're doing. So back to the topic.
It's not what I'm doing.
Back to the topic of your bitterness and your anger.
Sure.
You're always looking for excuses, Paulie boy. You're always looking to be right. I'm done entertaining your ego. Your ego is bitter and angry, and I want nothing to do with bitterness and anger, Paul. You can keep that shit. Hank, you've been patient and respectful. You have thoughts? I've got Chuck in the back too.
About you and Paul, I don't have anything original to say. What I already said. People pretty much said I don't think it's gonna work. So might as well just move on. But I wouldn't block him because he's useful to our agenda. So you can just come back whenever you can want to have the patience tolerate him. But no, wouldn't block him because you're pretty much stealing his audience. I mean, you have 1/8 of his audience. Because his audience is shrinking, you're pretty much taking his people from him. He's underperforming.
Yeah. Hey, all 241. Jack, what would it look like if I actually having a breakthrough with Paul? His pride would be set aside. He'd actually have a conversation with care and humility, recognizing, like a man, he could recognize the errors of his past. And as soon as this is the way we are designed, in the Bible it says this is how God works, but it's how we are designed. When we admit the truth or accept the truth, we find peace. There's reasons why the Catholic Church, why the traditions had the idea of confession. We must confess where we are wrong. If we don't recognize, if we don't accept where we're wrong, we're going to keep looping on the same battles. And people have seen Paul battling against me for the past couple of years, not for any true righteous or moral reason. I've never harmed the man. I've never done anything to damage him other than point out his lack of credibility. I've been encouraging. I've been patient. I've been very forgiving. I've been very kind. Yet, this is Jack's testimony. And brothers and sisters, for those who feel the idea that you have a willingness to help investigate my story, I'd love to know why. Why are people avoiding me? Why are people... Well, Zach was asking Paul, why is he doing what he's doing? The ego is not willing to admit or confess, but the spirit is truthful.
Did you notice that
What?
Zach has come up and feigned to ask questions, but has never actually wanted to get the result, nor has he contacted me privately to get the result? He's stunting and fronting for an audience, like
That's
many
not a big-
others here.
That's not a big deal. You never contacted me privately for resolution, so I don't think it's a
Hank,
big deal.
I've spoken to you privately, and I told you what my perspective is when you used to email me regularly.
Yeah, and I asked you to email me back if you wanted resolution. You never did that, so I don't think it's a big deal.
I'm not the one who has the issue. You have the issue with me and the way I conduct my broadcast.
I don't care. I don't really watch your podcast anymore.
Well, there you go. So then it's resolved, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Your broadcast, you're free to do what he wants.
And I don't believe that everyone else necessarily has to enjoy my broadcast in the way that I project myself or present myself. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Totally accept that. What I find interesting is how it seems to be everyone's cup of tea until they don't like me because I call them out on something I see.
You don't always see accurately, Paulie boy.
I could say the same for you, Jack.
So where is the correction? I'd like to discuss so we can find resolve.
I think we should go to the results and then reverse engineer back from that to find the root of the cause and effect.
That's the only way.
That's the only way I know how to do in this instance. It's not the
All
only
right.
way I know how in
Tell you
every
what.
instance, but in this instance, I think that it would be
Tell you
of
what.
value and benefit to everyone involved.
All right, I agree. So let's find agreement. What results are we going to go to? Because there is a distinction between you and I. I'm clearly on a spiritual path.
What makes you think that I'm not?
Your bitterness and anger.
You can't go to your apprehension of my inner space to deny my path and then bolster yours. That's hypocrisy.
That's
You
what you're
display
doing,
bitterness.
Paul. That's what you're doing.
Claiming you don't
regularly.
display bitterness and anger ever?
Hello. Paul,
Still here.
you're clearly not open to receiving any criticism. Not honestly.
I'm thinking that's you.
Your thoughts are wrong. That is exactly what we're talking about, is your perspective is flawed.
Right.
You are not the judge and jurisdiction. You've been disrespecting me on your opinion of my lack of results. So back to the topic. I was stating you're clearly in this for numbers and fiat. You're constantly showing me your bank account like it's something to fucking brag about. No.
You're mistaken again. I'm not in this for numbers. I'm not in this for numbers and fiat. If I was, I wouldn't have been doing it for years before that ever showed up.
Okay, so explain why you keep flashing numbers to me in the back.
Because I'm showing you that you've been in this for years and it hasn't shown up for you.
Okay, but again, my goal is different than yours, remember?
But you're not hitting any goal. You're not ending wars or legal secrets. You're not. Do you realize just today, Pennsylvania just ruled that they're not going to stop anyone for no license, registration, insurance, and plates? I and others are out here making change and bringing results. As silly as you think it is, I've at least hit my goals that I set out to hit. I'm hitting them. Great. You're not making money. You're not growing in numbers. You've depleted in numbers. And
are you helping? Are you helping get those results?
I'm open to help when you get in reality.
Paul, look at your influence already. You don't get to take the credit and deny responsibility.
I tripled your subscribers.
No, you didn't. Paul, you know what? I'm so fed up of you. Provo, how are you today? You're muted, my friend.
Doing a lot better than you, Mr. Talcott. I'm having a good day. You look angry, confused, upset.
What if I'm not? I'm actually...
Your face is lying to me?
Hey, maybe when Paulie boy with his bitterness and anger, maybe I got a little bit... Maybe I did drop into his energies for a little bit, but I'm back up, brother. I'm filled with love, filled with peace.
Yeah, I tend to do that. Bring Paul back up.
Why?
Because I want to talk to him too.
Do you think he'd be willing, or you just want to entertain some arguments?
I think he'd be willing. Why not?
Right. Hey, if you've got faith he can have a conversation, I'll try. I don't think he can.
Greetings, King Provo, demigod of the metaverse nowadays.
Blessings, Mr. Unslaved, or should I say Pablo? Good to see you today. How you doing, Hank?
I'm doing awesome.
All right, great. Nobody gives a fuck. Anyways, Jack.
Hey, hold it. Why do you even ask the question, dumbass? Why do you even ask the question? No one gives a fuck.
Hank, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, everyone calm down. There's some real fucking entertainment going on here today. All right? Some real men are going to be talking now. Fall back.
Oh, dumbass. What the fuck, dude? That getting real mean, bro. What the hell? Jesus. Relax, dude. So I guess I'm the only one here now with the cow. There we go.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Good to be here. You know what? Jack asked a question. He said, why doesn't anybody want to talk to me, be with me? Jack, you're crazy. Wacky. That's why I call you Wacky Jackie. I mean, imagine when you meet somebody in public and you tell them your life goal. You want to go to the UN. You want to end all wars. You sound crazy and you don't even know it. You don't even know how to have a conversation that's palpable. Like, you know, maybe break bread over. It's always like to the end point. You're an extremist, right? You always start at an extreme end, right? And so you're not relatable. You can't connect to people. That's why everybody pushes you away. They don't want to be associated with some guy who's trying to go speak at Congress and end wars. And then they're like, oh, what do you do, Mr. Wacky Jackie? And then you say, I do a live stream. And then they come watch your live stream. And it's about Paul for an hour and 15 minutes.
No, it's about love. That's what you're missing. It's the love that actually carries this whole thing, drives this train, right? It's the love. Like Diddy. Diddy is Mr. Love now. So love is driving this train. It's obvious. It's going to destination end wars and legal secrets, world peace. If we would just help Jack get his family back and non-pay for that house.
No.
I mean, sorry, that's the indirect benefits. It's not a direct statement of your claim of your goals, right? It's what you've alluded to will happen once you get rich and famous and end wars and legal secrets and get in front of powerful, wealthy people and get them to validate you and recognize you. My mistake.
Yeah, you got the angry face going again. Mr. Wacky.
Bitterness and resentment toward the truth.
I've been sitting here. listening to you guys talk about me. And so I'm curious, what would help you change your mind?
If you changed your attitude.
Or what should I do now?
If you changed your attitude, the same thing you gaslit me and projected onto me is actually true for you. If you changed your behavior and your attitude and actually got some beneficial results for you, you might get some respect from other people who are living in reality, not in some fantasy, unconditional love world that you don't actually display or live.
So we could demonstrate that's factually incorrect. I didn't have the same attitude and I was treated the same way. So that's factually wrong.
I love when Hank talks for Jack. That's probably my favorite segment.
It's
Hank
cute,
does.
isn't it? It's really cute. And Jack allows it because let anyone defend his nonsense and then try to triangulate, even if the person has the same exact identification to the problem rather than the solution as he does.
See, Jack? So it doesn't matter what your attitude is, they had the same behavior.
Right,
So-
Hank, you're
so it's-
also not interested in working hard and saving and reinvesting. You're also a code-following statist. You're also a mind and heart-controlled slave who got the jab.
Yeah.
So
So what should I
really,
do?
again,
I should go buy an enslaved time machine, go back in the past, and tell myself.
No, as Jack so eloquently said earlier, we can't move on without closure and adherence and admittance of the fact, or admission rather.
Yeah. So I shouldn't bother because it's no route for resolution. Like I said.
No, that's another
Right,
power
Paul.
game that's disingenuous. You should accept reality.
With Paul, there is no road for resolution. All Paul wants is obedience. And
Exactly.
Provo, I've
No,
been
it's not.
patient. Provo, I sat and allowed you to play your games with me again, and you're clearly an enabler. Zach, how you doing, brother?
Again, I am working in the background, but Paul, this is just what I got to say about you, Paul. You're the type of person that has to use all information you have as a weapon. And the thing you just did to Hank, attacking him for getting the jab. I'm sorry you got the jab, Hank. I spent over 100 days out on the corner before it even came out warning people for why they shouldn't. Definitely take care of yourself. That thing is a...
Here's the thing. I'm in better shape than all of you. So shut up.
Hank. Just let me make this point, though. See, Paul just used that to attack you. Now, I guarantee Paul knows that I was out there from day one, from the day the pandemic was declared, warning people because I had information most people didn't about what Bill Gates had said a decade earlier about how we can reduce population if we do a good job with the pokey doke. So, again, there's so many things that Paul's aware of, but he chooses to not make allies. He just chooses to pick and choose information and use it in a way always as a weapon to attack everybody. And this is what I mean, Paul. If you understand how important that was, that people shouldn't have got that, that's exactly why people like you and I and everyone else who think that way should be working together, not fighting over our differences. I don't mind.
Yes, but guys, you and Paul said I'd be dead by now.
No, I didn't say that. That's not what I said, Hank. I didn't say you'd be dead by now. I said it was going to be the whoever draws the short straw, and some people did draw the short straw, young and old. So, but I would still be very aware that you put that in your body, because go back and look at the headlines that came out shortly after. They said doctors are starting to identify a new phantom heart disease that will take a lot of lives over the next 5 years. And there are people who are just dropping dead. Somebody I know, their father, who's in their late 60s, just dropped dead last week unexpectedly. And again, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying, take care of yourself. You can tell that the jab is
I'm in better shape than you. Just look at us.
Here, you know what? There's truth. There's a lot of people have been suffering with a lot of things, but Hank looks like I think Hank takes care of himself, and here's where we're at. Between the injections, between the aerosols, between the microplastics, between the chemicals being put in the water supplies, the municipal water supplies, between the garbage on the food shelves, we're living in a toxic world.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Hank, I can see you're getting defensive But if you don't know what was said by Bill Gates, and remember, the first confirmed case in the world outside of mainland China just happened to be in his backyard where the world's biggest needle is.
Dude, I know about Bill Gates. I use Linux. I knew about Bill Gates for a really long time.
Okay, but you probably don't know what he said at his 2010 TED Talk days before he went to
the skater
Davos.
one. Yes, I know about it.
Okay, well, he was at Davos.
I just came to a different conclusion than you because I don't work as a conspirator right now. I came to a different conclusion. And I picked up my piece, and looks like it's working for me.
Okay.
And
But I would say what Hank's demonstrating right now is people don't like to be criticized, or people get very defensive very easily. And again, Hank, you accused me of saying something that I never said, but do take
it's probably mostly Pussy Paul's people saying the completely non-factual stuff. So I may have lumped you in together because you're going around this pretty much the same narrative. You stopped shorter than he did, but still it's the same narrative.
here, I think that might be what happened. Zach, I think you are more careful with the words you share, but you were warning. It is a pattern of Paul to certainly predict the worst, and everyone's going to this and everyone's going to do that. But we are living at a time. It's amazing how many people don't even want to discuss some of the results that are showing from that. But here's where I'm at. There's so much mystery and so much deception in the news, in the politics, in the world. Let's change it, okay? Let's realize that the future of humanity, it requires people to know what is true. And as soon as we stop allowing wealth and authority to make the determination of who gets to know what, we'll have a safer world for everyone. And I actually believe we've got technologies and knowledge available to truly bring some transformation to the health of the average people. Because let's face it, here online, we're a little bit separated from the others in that we're not doing the regular jobs, but people don't know what they don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, I do need to hop off, but Hank, if you're not aware, if you've not seen Bill Gates's TED Talk from 2010, Innovating to Zero, just days before he went to Davos and the World Economic Forum to say that in 10 years there will be a push to vaccinate the world. And again, 10 years later, it was 2020. You should go back and listen to his 2010 TED Talk, Innovating to Zero. He talks about how we need to reduce population, and he gives out a bullet point list of ways to do that. And you will not mistake the first thing on that bullet point list. Keep in mind, that was 2010, right out that year, 2001.
Yes, 2010 is the year I switched to Linux. But you're probably still on Windows.
But this is the point I'm making. 2001, the simulation for the pandemic was Event 201. In the Tuskegee experiment, there were 201 men in the control group. And go look at the Georgia Guidestones that came down in the big 201 ritual.
You don't trust Bill Gates, but he's still using his operating system. It makes perfect sense.
I don't use Windows. No, I don't. So you're falsely accusing. But again, the Georgia Guidestones came down 201 days after the Pope's birthday, and the first rule on there was to reduce the Earth's population to 500 million. And Pope Francis is the first Jesuit Pope and the first to live in Suite 201. And all the people behind all these agendas are Jesuits, and they're very racist. And there's a reason they had Idris Elba out there and other black celebrities saying that when the shot comes out, the first people who need to get it are black Americans. They've always targeted people of your color the most. So, Hank, you went along with an agenda out of ignorance, and instead of getting defensive...
No, I didn't go out of ignorance. I did research. Hank, I waited 4 months. I got the J&J. I did research.
Wait.
I'm ignorant because I didn't make the decision you want me to make. I made my decision after I made my research. It's flat on both sides. I chose to take the one job option with the old technology, and you're just saying, "Well, you didn't do it the way I wanted you to do it, so you're wrong. You're demented. You can't."
Please stop. I mean, this is an example of we make choices in our lives. We're all on our own different paths, and at the time, I trust Hank. He followed what he found, and we're all in this place, but the future, That's where the importance is. And once we unite and overcome this division nonsense, we can get some real science in what was in this. What is happening? What are we going to do? What are the ways to cleanse? What are the ways to purify? All these answers are available for us. I trust in that. I don't know.
All right. Hey, didn't mean to upset you.
Sorry.
But I do got to drop off. Thanks again, Jack. Thanks again, panel.
I'm not upset. I'm just a debate bro. So
it's all right. Yeah.
Thank you, Zach.
It's just something we don't fully understand what is going on with that. But I would say in these times, all these people saying this or that about you, remember who you are in Christ. Remember what God says about you. Remember he died for you. Remember he rose again to show God's power through the Holy Spirit and faith, and that he's with you and he's closer than quantum physics to you. And the world is not going to accept you. They accept the principalities and powers on high that are for the flesh, for the material, for the gain of their own land, and not the generational wealth of our future and our Christ-like being. They don't. So just remember the Christ-like being that you are. And when the world tries to input data into your brain that says who you are, don't listen to that. Listen to the loving people around you that want to support you, be there for you, understand your situation, understand your hard times. You know, because I've had that in my life where I'd be pretty broken down. And if I listened to all the bullshit that people were telling me, I'd be even more broken down. I had to listen to what God says I am. My identity is in Christ alone. So don't let it get to you. Don't let it get to you.
Those are great words of advice, Isaac. Thank you. And that is what I've become more comfortable with. I am as God and I created me. You, every one of us, are as God and we being a part of the environment, a part of the past. We are that which was created for today. It's easy to lose sight of the Christ within when you see so much bitterness and anger and competition, and it's insanity. That's a beautiful.
It's a lot of taking in data from other people, believing it as a subconscious thought that's now it's like set in stone. And when you go through your subconscious thoughts and you discern them through God's filter of who you are, you could kind of start to see how they've had us like trapped in who we really aren't. And it's so like through the discernment, what was that? The subconscious is like basically thoughts that have been inputted that you haven't really thought about yet, you just believed. So that's the battle here, basically, is those subconscious thoughts against the conscience thoughts that are conscience thoughts, CONCIENCE. It's the discernment between righteous and evil. And not many people have that ability. Just haven't looked into it or think it exists, so they're not looking into it.
I think we all have the ability. God's laws of righteousness, I trust, are written in our heart. But the mind can come up with excuses to say,
clash.
Yeah. And that,
Clash
Isaac,
spirit.
I love what you're sharing. These are wonderful reminders. And that brings us back into the topic, right? I mean, into the productive conversation, reminding the Spirit of Christ, the beingness of love, and without battle, without worry, without guilt and shame. It takes practice, but the conclusion I've come to, actually, I have been working on my own, on myself, my ability to communicate, my ability to stay present and not drop into the negative energies. But man, fighting is fun. Arguing it's entertaining.
And we're trying to reach their mind too. It's not, I wouldn't say it's pointless. We are speaking, we're just not resonating right. It's like we're two different universes trying to communicate through like light speed. I don't know. So I don't see it as unproductive. It's just something we probably have to deal with. Yeah.
Isaac,
I understand. Right. Yes.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just here. Yeah. Trying to think and feel my heart again. I don't know.
That's the key, brother. That's what I've been practicing myself too. How to think with my heart, how to be loving and accepting. That's the one I'm kind of focused on with myself, is I know I can do a better job of accepting people with their beliefs and how they are. But because if we can't accept anyone, if we can't understand them, then we're not on the same page as them. And I feel like I understand Paul and others, but I don't know how to communicate with their hearts when it's always a battle for the ego. Communicating between our hearts. For anyone tuning in, this is a lesson I've learned, right? We all want to be able to communicate with each other. We all want to be understood. Well, the laws of creation. If you want to receive something, you must offer it. So if you want to be understood, share some understanding.
I
That's
have an idea. Did you read Paul's father's book yet?
no, I've not yet read it.
Let me get the link for you. Just in case you may want to read it. That may help
I
you.
want to say one thing that helped. Oh, you already found it? My bad.
Yeah,
I thought I had a second.
You do have a second. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So one thing that helped me a lot was the deep worship in the heart with like praise music. It speaks to the subconscious and it sets you into that reality. Like these people are around you and they're with you.
I love that reminder. What you said too, the pattern of enlightenment, the pattern of growing in self-awareness. It's what Isaac said, bringing the subconscious into the conscious, so that the subconscious beliefs, those memories from when we were children that started affecting how we interact with people. If we can get into our memory banks, bring in the fears and insecurities and bring them into our consciousness, once we shine the light of awareness, those things never have power on us.
Yeah, I put in the main chat. It's called "A Stroke of Ill Fate" by I'm gonna call Paul's dad Dr. L for now.
Thank you, Hank. There's no denying Paul has been a part of my experience. If I succeed or fail, he's been a part of my experience. If he helps me succeed or fail, well, we each get to offer each other what we want. And that reminds me, Chuck, I brought you back up. You had some comments for me from the private chat. You have the space if you're there, Chuck. All right. Well,
Chuck, do you know you're muted?
I'm here. I'm here. I did nothing, but he felt I was lower than anything else that was on the panel, so he felt it was pertinent to leave me backstage and not participate in any of the conversations. But that's neither here nor there.
Is that what I said or what you felt?
That's what you did.
Well,
it can be discerned.
No, you're including a reason there. I mean, factually, you were placed in the back of my live stream, Chuck. Yes. But
Multiple times.
Your conclusion is not what I said. Do you care to know? Do you care?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all ears.
You're
Hit
all
me.
ears. But do you care to know that your
Yes, I
assumption
do.
was wrong? Okay. Well, Chuck, can you agree that we've not really communicated real great in the past?
I'll agree with that.
All right.
No argument there.
And you know that I've been trying to communicate with Paul for quite a while as well, right?
Oh, yeah. I can agree with that.
So can you understand that I saw that you would not be helpful when you also have a pattern of disrespecting Paul and me? So I didn't really see that you would be helpful if I left you on the panel. Can you understand my perspective of why I chose to do what I did?
But I had said nothing.
You actually interrupted.
You just arbitrarily decided to throw me away.
Chuck. Okay, so you're insistent that your narrative is correct, that you want to believe that I chose to do that, not because of what I said, but because I wanted to insult and disrespect Chuck. Is that what you're saying?
Yep, that's the way I took it.
Hank, Isaac,
That's the
Isaac
subconscious
wasn't.
Jack
mind.
backstaged me too at the same time,
Subconscious
so it
mind.
wasn't a big deal.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Jack backstaged me at the same time. So we
No,
talked to Paul one-to-one.
but he done it. He done it to me multiple times, Hank, and he brought you right back every time.
mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
Chuck, do you see the difference between you and Hank in my experience?
No.
Right. You've not
So, like,
witnessed your own behavior, Chuck, in regards to what you've been offering to me. You've just been focused on what you can find wrong with me. It's been a pattern of your behavior I've been trying to confront and discuss with you for a while. So, Chuck, do you want to know why there was a difference between you and Hank? I mean,
Sure.
can you understand based on what I've already said?
I'm listening.
What did you hear me say? Because I explained it.
You just said there's a difference between me and Hank.
Mm-hmm.
That's
What
what
was
you
that?
said.
What was that difference?
I don't know.
The difference is Hank has been much more respectful, much more supportive, much more accepting of me. You have not. You cannot say the same thing, Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now that you understand my perspective of the difference between you two, now can you understand the difference?
Nope.
Right.
let's say
Because
there's
it was a conversation going on, but yet all people were not able to participate.
So I would say
Right.
it's something like this. If Jack's the host, he has something planned, like in the moment, like that he has control over, right? So I just want to like clarify, like in my mind, this is what I see. I see that he couldn't communicate like with a bunch of people in the room and wanted to communicate specifically with one person and like decided that was the best decision. I don't think it was against you at all. So I think there's some subclashing thoughts in your brain that's warring against you, right? That's like you want to be here, like you want to be part of the show and everything. And Jack respects you and he allows you up, but like you should be able to understand that when he's telling you it wasn't out of disrespect or anything like that. It was just for the moment, and it's like a math equation. This is what needs to happen right now. I would just say it's not like too elaborate. It's just that's what he decided right then and there. Like so, and as the host, like you kind of want to try to understand him. If you want to be here and you want to collab with him and you want to like vibe with him, you should look to connect on that level, right? Like where you understand him and he's not lying to you.
Yeah,
And it'd be helpful for your heart to believe people like when they're being honest with you and they're not against you. You know?
Yeah, and you've never been in Jack's shoes. All three of the other panelists have hosted before. You have not hosted yet, so these are kind of decisions. It's hard to explain, but sometimes you need to just put other people aside just so we can try to focus.
Hey, Isaac, I appreciate what you said. And you even gave Chuck the benefit of the doubt, which I don't believe he can accept. I don't believe Chuck is here on my live stream, our live stream. I don't believe Chuck is here to offer support and encouragement to Jack.
Yeah, well, I don't know your whole past experience, but I would hope that is the case. Yes.
Well, Chuck, you care to offer your own explanation for your intentions? Because I know what I've received from you.
I came with an open mind to try to expand my knowledge of where you're coming from.
Is that true, or you think that's what I want to hear?
No, I wouldn't have said it otherwise. I'm not going to bend the knee and kiss
All
your
right.
ass.
Well,
I
tell you
No.
what,
believe him.
Chuck,
No, it's not like that.
I'll vouch for Chuck on that.
It's like a high
Would
five,
you?
dude. You don't have to
Really?
bend the knee. You're high fiving. Like,
Well,
hey, boom,
the
boom. You know.
question. Okay, so the question though is, I made the statement that I doubt Chuck is here for support or encouragement of me. So he says he's here for himself. He's here to offer, I guess, an open mind so he can better understand me, is what I heard. So, Chuck, what can I help you better understand about me and what I'm doing and what I'm saying?
If I open my mouth, it's just going to lead to you throwing me out of the show again.
Well, why don't you try cooperating with what I asked and offer an answer? Why don't you give me a chance and try and be honest, Chuck? What can I help you better understand about me and what I'm doing and what I'm saying?
Well, it goes to some of what was said earlier when, like, Provo was here. The ideas are hard, extremely hard. They're extravagant. They're
So
not.
what? I understand what I'm doing. I understand what I'm saying. It's not that difficult, except when you're not willing to accept. And Chuck, you haven't been willing to accept me as what I say. You, just like Polly Boy, have wanted to call me a liar.
I've
All
never
sorts.
called you a liar.
Chuck, you most certainly have.
No,
You do it constantly with all of your disagreements.
If you did, and in this moment you didn't mean to, that's a good thing. I mean,
I didn't
I
call him a
Chuck
liar.
hasn't. Chuck is in his head, not his
Yeah.
heart. And that's why he's been so generous with his opinions and his insults. Chuck has been on the side
You're
of
holding grudges.
anyone
well,
against
the heart
me.
is like a powerful organ that overcomes the world's inputs of all the mind and everything. The heart is like a compass and like a. It's a hard thing to understand. If you felt the move of your heart ever before, that's what you should find to find peace and find everything. If that's like, if you know what I mean, if it's a war between this and this, which the Bible talks about it as a war between the spirit and the flesh, then you know, it's just what it is. It's not an easy thing to overcome at all. It's not. But with Christ it
But
is.
but he's bringing grudges. I'm not.
No, Chuck, you're projecting. I'm actually once again trying to have a conversation with you, Chuck, so that you can get over your insulting and demeaning opinions of me. Because the reality is, Chuck, you are in my life. I love you like a brother.
That's because God put me here.
Right. And so far, I haven't found much joy or value. Okay, Chuck. So I've been patient with you. I've been kind. I've I've responded with insults because you've been just a stubborn, arrogant opposition of me. And again, I never did anything to you, Chuck. I never did anything to Margot. I never did anything to Paul or
Don't
Snafu.
lump me in with anybody
Well,
else. I'm an
Chuck,
individual.
no, Chuck, accept the fact that in my life, all of you have found joy in opposing me, Chuck.
You call it joy?
Well,
Maybe some do.
yeah. You have had fun at my expense, trying to look down on me and diminish me in many different ways, Chuck. So here's the deal. I don't need your permission. I don't need your approval. But what I am saying, yes, I have some big goals. God has placed some unbelievable ideas on my heart, and I can't get rid of them. I cannot stop thinking about the probability that wars can end and immediate reforms can happen. And Chuck, you don't have to be there. You don't have to help me get anywhere. But why you want to publicly disrespect me blows my damn mind. And here, another example, Chuck, of you and Margot and Snafu and Paul
Flow state,
and Flow State.
OTW. Yeah,
Yep.
with the list goes on and on and
Yes.
on.
Well,
Yeah,
Chuck,
but do you
all
believe we're forgiving? Because that would be something you would need to know
What was
if that's
that,
something
Isaac?
looking. Do you
What'd you
know that we
say?
are forgiving? We are forgiving people.
No, Jack
There's
is
a
not
new day.
forgiving.
Today could be brand new. I'm just
Jack
saying.
is holding grudges.
No,
is
no, I'm
that
saying
me or you,
today.
Chuck?
I'm just want you to
That
know
is
that I know
you,
Jack
Jack.
understands we forgive. We forgive. We just never got there in a conversation before. I'm just saying, if you believe it, then that's something you would need. I mean, if you don't, that's something you would need to know if we want to move on. Like that, peace can still happen. Like this could be a new day. We talk about it. Every day is a new day. God gives us grace and mercy every day, and we give it to the world. I'm just saying, like,
Every day I
remember,
wake up, I give credit to God.
that's amazing.
You well, Chuck.
I just want to know. I mean, I just
Okay.
wanted you to know that we are forgiving people, like, just so you're not stuck in
Mhm.
your brain thinking it's all, like all fucked
I'm
up.
not
Well,
stuck in my brain.
Chuck is in denial. He's
I'm
in
just making sure.
denial, which
I
is
am.
yes, Chuck, you are.
Oh well. Set me straight, Saint.
When you learn humility, you'll see it for yourself.
Why are
Welcome,
you being
Margo.
so disrespectful towards Chuck? I'm listening to Isaac be so kind and such a loving man, Jack, and you just sound like an evil bastard.
Mm. Well,
I see
anything
that.
I say, you define me as that, Margo.
Listen to yourself talking, Jack.
Try
Makes sense to
listening
me.
to my words, Margo.
He's been understanding. He's just explaining the truth every time.
Isaac,
Thank you, Isaac.
was very disrespectful towards Chuck.
No, there's apparently been a lot of clash in the background in the past that he's just bringing back up.
You could
That's it.
learn from Isaac
He's
because
only compared past
Isaac holds
experiences.
the
That's
quality.
it. I'm just saying, like, the only thing I've heard, right? If that's, you can come back up and let me know or whatever. I just real quick. All I hear is the past experiences that Chuck brings up. He's explaining and clarifying the truth, but no one's listening. And we're trying to get past it so we can move on. But no one wants to take that step and forgive and forget. Not even forget, forgive and understand. That's a better way to put it.
I
Forgive and
think
understand.
this is pretty much the
Like,
longest.
and just try to make a better world. We know it's fucked up. Like, come on. We know it. Like, we're all in it.
I'm friends with both Jack and Chuck. This is the longest they've been on the same panel together. I think they're progressing very nicely. Probably like another week they could that's a show together.
I think something. I hope. I try to clarify, like mentally what I've gone through before and tried to like look past and see a higher perspective, and it's worked. It brought me peace. It's brought me joy. It's brought me happiness. It's brought me comfort around me. It's brought me comfort with the people I'm around, harmonization. So it's hard not to share it when I want to share it. Like, because I found it. I found it. Yeah.
Here, I would take what you guys are assessing with Chuck. I'd take it a lot more seriously if Chuck actually found any problems on his own. But he's clearly in denial. He's defamed me repeatedly on multiple different live streams and various channels. And so just like Paul, I've got these bitter people who want to assume I have nothing worth listening to, talking about me all around the place. But here's something I started with again. Brothers and sisters here, I see the numbers are a little higher. I encourage people, please check out the beginning of the live stream.
Yeah.
See what I'm offering, because I am inviting everyone. Join me. Join my side. Take a chance that Jack Talcott is not lying, that maybe he can accomplish something if given a chance. I'm still trying to find out from my ex-wife, from my son, from the people in the past, what did I do that was so unforgivable? Forgiveness is the path. Forgiveness is the path of salvation. We save ourselves from our own inner torment of judgment. And I've got a son that will be 22 in just over a week that I haven't held in years. I haven't had a conversation with my son in many years. I'm hoping God will allow me to find some compassionate ears here in Spokane or elsewhere who are willing to help me figure out what's going on in my life. Because if I'm right, God's got some blessings in store for us. If I'm wrong, well, I'll never be miserable again in a day in my life because I found God. I don't know what God's got planned for me, but it sure as hell isn't like Margot's been saying. Jack's gonna be dragged out of his house. Jack's such a vagrant. He's Margot, you're insane, lady.
Well, Jack, you have to remember, just because you found God doesn't mean he doesn't want you to be miserable. You have to remember the Job story. Maybe it's a test.
And
maybe
Jack,
it's a bet.
you told your son.
Hank, amen, the Job story. Okay, look at how many people publicly, just publicly, how many people want to assume the worst, that Jack deserves punishment. Paul wants to punish me because of opinions from people he's never met. Margot's been trying to punish me since 2018.
Does this make sense? Is this correct? I don't know if this is correct. This is a thing that I've thought about before. If you can't forgive yourself, you can't forgive others, because now you're holding yourself to the same standard. How could you hold someone else to like a lower standard, or like not even a lower standard, a different, maybe higher standard, but it's an upside down kingdom. But you know what I mean from that perspective. But so like if you've never thought about forgiving yourself, like how are you ever going to see it in someone else? Kind of interesting.
Hey, Machine Lies, you've been here impatient for a little bit. How you doing today, brother?
I'm having an excellent day, Brother Jack. How about yourself? Yeah, but blessings to everyone. I'm having a little bit of a migraine today, but it is what it is, you know.
Okay,
Hey.
real quick, Dr. D Head, sorry. I meant you can't forgive yourself, yes, but I mean to teach yourself through Jesus Christ, Yeshua, right? So through Yeshua, I should have been more specific, and you're right. I kind of messed up and said the wrong thing. I should have included the path that I found was through Yeshua to forgive, of course, but I kind of think people already know about it, so I skipped it. But yeah, you don't forgive yourself on like, oh, I can forgive myself and just walk away like without a higher power. I'm talking about Yeshua's heart, Yeshua's understanding, so you can see it. If you can't see it, it's just worthless.
Hey, exactly. It's the example we all want to embody. We may stumble. We may allow doubt and negativity to creep in. You may have a little heartache or a little fear or whatever. But we want to walk in the way of Christ Jesus. And the inner voice within you, those of you who have learned the stories, that inner voice is with you, right? Offering you the guidance to be forgiving, to be generous, to be kind, to be good, even when people don't deserve it. I tell you what, I'm not perfect, but I trust. Actually, I know when my son returns to my life, he'll be excited to know our Father And I look forward to introducing my son to our Father as he gets to know his Father again. Margot conveniently has been a part of my story, just as Chuck and Paul and Snafu and many others. Everyone has connections to other people. Snafu has gone out of his way to connect to people from my past, not to help me. Enabled by Margot, other people have gone out of their way to reach out to people from my past to sabotage me. I'm inviting people to care. Help me investigate, why is this happening? Sure, it's easy to blame Jack, but 7 days a week I'm online trying to build a community with strangers, people who I don't know. Why? Because I believe that wars can end, and I believe a greater world can come forth if we just unite together.
So, what if I investigate, but telling you the answers would reduce your well-being? Should I tell you anyways, where you can understand the facts, or should I just keep it to myself so you can feel have a better well-being?
You can do whatever you want to do.
But I understand, but I'm asking about what you value.
Well, the truth is nothing we can't handle.
Yeah, and that's just it. I love the truth. Even if it's bad news, I would love to know any news. What is going on with my son?
True.
What is happening in my neighbors' lives, in my old friends' lives? I mean, I was loyal and I am loyal to old friends and to my family, but I really don't know. The only explanation I can come to, and it makes perfect sense, is God. Because losing everything, no. Yes, my old life was taken from me by the opinions and choices of others. Did I play a part? Yep. Did I make choices too? Yep. But my choices were to try and keep my family together. My choices were to try and keep my career, restore my reputation. But my life was taken, and now where I'm at, I have given my life away to God. I've shared this in a recent stream not long ago. In my practice over the last several years, what I've been learning how to do is surrender to the present in deeper and deeper levels. And I keep finding these deeper levels of surrender to the present, and I find a true joy, a true bliss. Go ahead, Isaac.
I wanted you to finish first, and then
Oh.
God got me. Sorry, that's what I meant. I didn't know if you understood that.
Yeah, me after
Okay,
Isaac.
so I would say that you and then I got distracted, but I think I still remember most of it. It's hard to find that path if you don't forgive yourself.
Yes, it's impossible
You
to
can't
find
live in
that.
the present if you don't forgive yourself, because the things you're not forgiving yourself for are in the past.
Exactly.
And you're not the same person. You've grown. You've evolved. It's in the past, and it's still bothering most human every single day. And that's how they live. And they talk about the past. Everyone, if you think about it, talks about the past. It's a weird matrixed concept, but listen real quick around you when you go out and like, oh, this is the football game that just happened, or this is what the news said yesterday, or no one's like, oh, this is what we should do tomorrow. We're all like in the past, bro. Like the mental,
speak for yourself.
like MK Ultra, whatever you want to call it, keeps us in the past.
Yes.
Keeps wars going. We don't live in forgiveness. Like,
Isaac,
we don't live in the future. Like the media could apply psychological aspects like what I'm saying and make a change in the world because of how powerful they are, basically.
Isaac, that's exactly
Now,
what
I
I
talk to the general of the United States.
So here's the thing.
Like
I don't think it tends to the
not to.
past. I think it tends to the future. So the thing is, getting God to add a script is not an easy feat.
Revenge is an endless cycle.
Right.
Cycle. And
Well,
so
here,
is eternity. Once you reach eternity of peace, it's an endless cycle.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So getting God to edit the script's not an easy feat. The best resource for that is the Old Testament where people negotiate with God. So
well, we
it's a
live
thing
Not
that's
true.
been
Not true. Dude, it's
here,
Yeshua.
guys.
It's the
Can
New
I
Testament, bro.
let me
It's
jump in
definitely a New
here?
Testament. It's a new covenant. It's a
Yes.
new covenant. He's a high priest. He offered his blood to make a new law.
Let
Bro.
me jump in
Like,
here,
straight up.
please. Isaac,
Yeah.
can I participate, please? I love what you said because it's absolutely true. And this is what I want to get before Congress and the entire world. It's proven through evidence, psychological study, and just logic and reasoning. People are insane living in timelines, carrying around the past. The obedience and punishment, the memories of punishment and pain has people trapped. They've hypnotized themselves going back from memories to imagination, and they're not present. What I found is in my life, I have surrendered my life to God's will. And so, what does that mean? It means God is my future. I count on the future a hell of a lot more than the past because my past has been nuts. I still got insane people dragging memories from opinions they found in the past and wanting to punish me over and over and over. Margot, are you
Yes.
present today?
Yes, I am.
How do we resolve? How do we find reconciliation between you and I and the past and the present?
Well, you're the one that brings my name up every day, Jack.
In what context are you hearing me bringing your name up?
You're the one that says it, not me.
Well, I'm asking I'm trying to understand what it is you think you understand. So you act as though my bringing your name up is a problem. You didn't say that, but I'm trying to get what context have you found me bringing up your name?
I can't answer that, Jack. My observation is you bring my name up every day.
And so what does that mean to you, Margot?
It means that you are blaming me for your own failure.
Besides what you said, that I'm bringing your name up, how is that the conclusion of blaming?
Because you say that your failures are partially my fault, my responsibility.
Is that blame or factual?
I don't know why you failed, but you failed.
Okay,
Have
but
you ever taken psychology before?
Have I?
Yes.
Do you know who you're talking to?
Okay, so then how do you not understand like anything about the past? And you still he has to be present, and then you brought up the past for a second.
Yeah. Margot needs a handicap.
He asked
She's
you to
out
be
math like
present,
Jack.
and the
She's out
first
math
thing you
like Jack.
said was about the past. That's not what you're telling me you studied to listen and answer correctly.
Margot is trapped in the past, and her ego, her pride.
You're trapped in the past, Jack.
Margot, I'm here in the present describing your present behavior, which was just pointed out by another guest here. I'm
What
not
is your
alone.
present behavior?
You're trapped in the past. You're not present. You're
No,
not
I'm here right
actually
now.
aware.
What would you like to discuss? I'm here right now.
Your behavior, Margot.
That's the past.
Okay. So what can we discuss?
What would you like to discuss? It's your show.
Well, Margot, you said how about we discuss what is Margot's behavior going to be in the future with Jack? What is anything ever going to change? Because
I
I
don't know.
didn't start problems with you, Margot. You found problems with me.
You're talking
So,
about the past again, Jack.
right. So in the future, what can we expect from Margot?
I don't know.
Right. You have no accountability for the past. You accept no responsibility for the fact that you have been involved in my life.
You're talking about the past again, Jack.
I'm pointing out facts, Margot.
About
You're in denial.
about the past.
Margot, you're in denial.
About what?
Many things. Your patterns of here and now, where I'm trying to have a
Now you're talking
conversation.
about patterns of the past.
Right, Margot, you keep interrupting to bring these egoic labels, not really serving the conversation, not really being polite, just analyzing. For what purpose? Why are you behaving this way?
What would you like to discuss, Jack?
Margot, I answered that question
You
several
want to
times.
talk about my behavior, that's the past, or you want to talk about something else, the future?
What's your behavior going to be in the future?
Actually, please recognize your behavior here today. And then, the question was,
Okay, I'll explain my behavior. I came up because I was very impressed with Isaac and how he was so peaceful and so kind and so caring to everyone on panel. And I was watching you really be judgmental and mean to Chuck. That's why I came up on panel.
I get that Jack doesn't have to let him up. I get that Jack doesn't have to let him up because of the past, but he brings him up to discuss it for the present moment as a you know what I mean? So I understand what he's saying and it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I came up, Isaac, to tell
He doesn't
you
have to
that
let him
I
back up.
think you
He's
are
giving
very
them a chance
respectful.
to think on a higher level, and if they want to be there, they could understand what we have learned, not from our own experience. I mean, not from our own high place. We've learned it from God. We've learned it from Yeshua.
Yeah.
I mean,
as have I.
And
Isaac,
another
thank you.
thing.
yeah. So I'm just saying,
Yeah. So
most
another,
people that have done that to me, the type of stuff that Jack brings back, I would never bring back to my channel. I have 4 of them, and they've never came back after one time. So I know he's not just wasting his time. He cares about people's minds. He cares about the ripple effect of everything.
yes. And
So I don't
another
know.
thing.
I don't hear
Yes,
that
Sam.
he's focusing negatively on purpose like that. I see that he's explaining it to their mind that they're not accepting, and they bring it back every time, and then they deny it or something.
Yes. And one more thing. Margot, like Chuck, has never hosted a panel, so she doesn't understand it from our perspective how we manage these people here, how we maintain communication.
Actually, I have, Hank. I have, and I do.
It's not on your YouTube at all.
It is not on YouTube. It's on an educational channel.
Margot,
I've actually taught at the universal level.
Oh my God. Yep. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, the thought
At a
came to
Christian
me.
college, by the way.
Okay, so the thought came to me. I really do. You're right, Margot. I'll give you you answered the question, and you answered honestly that you can't predict your behavior in the future. But I'm curious if you can explain without blame, if you can explain your choices in the past. But see, everything you've done, you've blamed me or something you thought. So, what we're dealing with here is the state of our world. These online conversations, there are creators and channels where people are characters. They're up here to play games and entertain and, solicit money. That's not me. I'm literally here trying to follow the way of Jesus. In that, I promote and share my love of God each day. Go ahead, Isaac.
No, I was just saying that's amazing. I had to.
Well,
Dude.
It's the path I'm following, right? And I've said this. I don't know why Margot and Chuck and Paul and Snafu and all these other characters, why they think I deserve to be treated the way that they have. I am genuinely living the life the best I can that God has given me. And I
Oh,
found ways to love living.
oh, I listened to them. So their reasoning is, since you're not becoming their slave and doing everything they tell you, then they can treat you however they want. They think they're a slave master. That's their reasoning.
Hank, that you're right. And it's the devilish mind, it's the ego, the Luciferian idea of battle and control. People have wanted me to obey, and I've done my best to abide, but that's why my career ended, because people had an arbitrary rule, and you must get someone to give you a permission slip before we talk to you again. Well, they were lying. They were finding an excuse to avoid having a conversation with me as they took my livelihood and my career away from me. They, in this case, being my union reps and the supervisors that I dealt with. So,
You realize you're talking about the past again, right?
hey, Margot, I'm talking about my life. I know you don't give a shit about me and my life, but I do. And it's my story to tell. And Margot, I'm not going to be telling my story based on your version. The truth is true.
Yeah, it wasn't like the past and it's bringing up negative things. You're allowed to like talk about whatever, like process or understanding or a good thing even. That's kind of God says to meditate on things that are good, pure, and holy, and God's peace will be with you. He didn't say to argue. He didn't say to backlash. He said to think about things that are good, and it's hard to find that in the world. Like it's hard.
It can be, but that's where the practice comes in. My practice of gratitude, it's strong. That's the only reason I'm cheerful and I'm filled with inspiration, because I'm grateful for the life God has given me. Do I wish things were different? You better believe it. Of course, I wish I had more money, more resources. I wish I had actual support in my community. I don't. It doesn't mean I deserve to be disrespected and insulted and doubted. Chuck has returned. This question, that which is, what happened with joining Veterans for Peace? It's another example. I don't know what to do. I've been patient. I've tried following their rules. I've been polite. I've extended multiple invitations, emails, texts. I've invited people all around. Check me out. See what I'm doing. As far as I can tell, the local chapter has no clue what I say each day. My son has no clue what I'm doing, as far as I know. So I'm trying to get more involved with the chapter. They haven't yet recognized that my background and my experience actually has some talents, but they invited me to take over to do more with their social media page. Dude, I don't know social media either, but since I've got a channel,
Well, don't you have a Facebook and a website too? And you do know some on social media.
I do, but the only thing I want to do, well, here, the local chapter, in response to this question, we just had a new president. We had a shift in the local administration for the local chapter, and I was invited to take on more with the social media. I've invited members of the local chapter to participate, to tune in, to give me any sort of feedback. But right now, that organization, it has people that speak at the UN at different levels, the governments do involve some of the organizations, some of the people, and whether they listen or not, that's yet to be determined. But the organization has connections. These churches in my town have connections. We have connections online. We all know people who know people. What if, well, the time is coming. The truth will set the world free. The truth, when it's no longer protected with secrets and lies, when people start actually really caring about what is true, we're going to end this genocide and the war crimes that are happening in Israel. What's happening in this world is the result of good men and women holding themselves back from doing more. Because the evil doesn't hold itself back. The evil works together to work towards the oppression, towards the division, the manipulation. Brothers and sisters, let's unite.
So is your question, why didn't Veterans of Peace understand how good I am and took me straight to the UN? Is that the question?
What do I have to do to get their attention so that they can at least try to see the value that I'm offering? It's kind of the same question I've got for Margot and Chuck and Paul and these others. How do I get them to, these guys, how do I get them to stop attacking me so that they can receive the good qualities of me?
Just demonstrate their attacks are ineffective. And for the Veterans for Peace, well, they have a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know enough about them. I would have to do more research.
Yeah. Hey, we'll figure it out. This has been a good stream, couple hours though. I think it's time to wrap up, I think. Thoughts from others?
Much love.
Blessings to you, brother. Thank you, sincerely.
Cheers.
Yeah, I have something to promote. I have that much to comment about the stream that I didn't say already. I'm having I'm premiering a couple panels I've already been on. You should be able to find my channel. I'll put a link in the chat when I leave. So.
Please do.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Hank. Appreciate you joining. Machine Lies.
Greetings. Greetings, my brother. How you doing? I do have quite a bit to say on this topic, and so just letting you know, brother, because I'm available for you, anytime you want to discuss these things. And this type of idea about we, right? I think that we do have to try to change the ideas about collectivities and our social boundaries, and the whole idea about the tools we use to socialize and mediate our interactions. We have to take a critical examination over those things, and transform the collectives into communities that are actually tangible, that don't actually function through limiting and binding ways of bringing things together while limiting them, but actually finding more growth through relations. So we need to transform how we've binding each other, imposing rules on each other, to transformative agreements that can actually imbue relations, and that goes back to the social tools of mediation that we use. And really, it's about transforming this idea of we, of like a bunch of collective individuals, into a harmony between individuals that could foster a unified way of interacting with the world, a unified way of interfacing with the world and nature in general, so that the community becomes, an individual, so to speak. It's not just comprised of individuals, because a we can be just as selfish as an I, right? People use we like to virtue signal, to stand behind everyone, to kind of hide what they're doing and mask what they're really doing, and claim that they're individual among many, and say, well, everybody does it. That type of conformity has very little value, and we need to exemplify a higher form of communication. But yeah, also this concept of today, about not looking at progress, not being stuck in the past. Obviously the past is immutable. There is no future. The future is being constructed now. All you have is your present means to achieve what you want at this moment. And I'll just leave it there, because there's so much we can talk about in the future about these things. But yeah, blessings. I know I didn't say much here, so I wanted to add something. But yeah, blessings. Thank you, guys.
Hey, appreciate you sincerely. Excuse me. You'd mentioned the wellness wasn't 100%. So, brother, thank you for sharing what you do. It's the truth. This we. Some of the notes, I mean, it's kind of late in the stream, but some of the notes I never really even got into is the idea of the one God. God is the one. And it is from the one that we have descended into this experience of multiplicity. We are fractures of the one. And so the idea is to accept the descent for what it is. We are in this world of material, of form. But what is important? What is truly important, what your spirit truly seeks, is unification, reconciliation, going home to the one that is. We're temporary experiences here in life. Today, by God's grace, we breathe again today. And by that gift of life and power, sparking and illuminating the intellect and the consciousness, through the breath and the thoughts and the mind, we get to experience feelings, sensory feelings, flavors and sounds and romance and colors, and just everything is here. But brothers and sisters, if you get caught up in your own little ways where you're all prideful and I'm here to tell others what to do and they better think like me, or fooling yourself, don't be a fool. Don't be a fool. The discussion of we, there is but one experience of life that is happening here today. The past is the past. It brought us to here. And so, brothers and sisters, we descended from the heavens in the spiritual concept, from that which is above the limitations and the paradigms of the earthly form. But we are here to rise above, to become one with that which is true. And that which is true is there is no separating me from you. I am you. You are me in this present moment of being. And there is nothing that separates you or me from the divine power of God, the wholeness and the perfection of the Christic. It is here in the present. But if your mind is wandering, if you're not reconciled the past and all you're doing is finding problems, well, you're denying yourself from the truth of love. You're denying yourself from the truth of goodness. Don't live in denial. Become part of we. Join me here today, the 1st of November. We're starting a new month. The year's almost done. Let's find a way to interrupt the sick theatrics that are being played out in the economic, political stages of our world. By God's grace, we'll return again tomorrow. And if you enjoy what you hear, make sure and subscribe, invite others, share with others. We'll see what the future brings. Brothers and sisters, thank you again. Choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless us all. Peace.